what people have responded so far, people will most likely say free work, no reward, no compensation, giving my time, saving the world. You just get such responses if this was the first question that I asked. So the question is, what indeed is volunteering? And from my slide here, you would see that it's just summarized as an act of offering your time, your skills, your energy without expecting financial compensation. This goes both ways. It helps both the volunteers, that is the people who are giving their time, their skill, their talent, their energy, their experience, and also the organization that is on the receiving end. Please note, a lot of people can be on the receiving end of a volunteer skill. It could be a religious organization, it could be an official setting, it could be an NGO, it could be a nonprofit. There are so many people that can benefit from having people give their time, give their talent, give their energy without expecting financial compensation. I want us to underline that, without expecting financial compensation. I have a slide much later that talks about volunteering without heartbreak. So this just helps us to see that on the surface, everybody associates volunteering with giving your time and not expecting anything in return. And of course, the purpose is that it fosters personal growth, especially for the person who is volunteering, and also helps to then support a cause, a project, something that is going on within that organization or community, as the case may be. While I'm speaking, please note I'll be looking at our chat box. If there's anything that speaks to you, please just put it in the chat box. I'll do well to address it, whether it's a question, whether it's just an addition. I'd be happy to incorporate it in what I am saying. I just also want to read out here Felix's comments that says volunteering is rendering services using your skill set and scarce resources without getting compensated. Once again, underline what? Without getting compensated. And so that brings us to the next very important question. Moments. Sorry. Okay, so that takes us to the next question here. Why should we volunteer? I know that for this particular session, we are focusing on skills development, but the question is, why volunteer? Why is it important to volunteer? What are people who volunteer looking to gain? The first one is, of course, skills development. You have people who, for the sake of trying to gain a skill, trying to hone a skill, trying to practice, trying to just learn the ropes, they use this opportunity to gain those skills, because nobody would give you a blank slate. There are very few industries that will just give you the opportunity to serve or just the opportunity to learn. People want people who have already done it, who are already experienced, who they can hand over that responsibility. So they give both responsibility and authority to people who they know will pull that off. If there was going to be a particular session, it could be, let's call it an outreach. Let's say there's an outreach towards a particular age group in Lagos State, for example, and they say, oh, we needed somebody to man the people to man the media, to be part of the media team. We need people who are well versed in very large projects in terms of displays, in terms of the whole 9 yards of a media team that comes with such projects. So whether it's lights, camera, action, everything that they need. They need people need to join online. People need to have the right links. People need to have things displayed. When the pastor is preaching, there definitely needs to be some script that needs to go up there. People need to see text. People need to see lights. There's a lot of things that go on. You cannot give that kind of project to somebody who doesn't know their left from their right, or who is not well skilled in that area. And so the question then becomes, how are people able to gain those skills without having to go through the traditional route of waiting until you gain the experience practically before you are able to do it. So yes, by volunteering, people can then gain those practical hands-on skills, whether it's leadership, communication, project management, you name it, fundraising, you name it. People can gain those hands-on skills just by participating in the project, just by giving their time, just by not expecting anything in return, doing that work and then learning. The next one is networking opportunities. For some people, they want to volunteer. They already have those skills, right? They're not trying to learn anything new. They already know it. They've done it for years. But the fact that you have a group of people who are within that community, who do the same thing, they want to be in the midst of those people who are they are able to bounce ideas off of. They are able to say, oh, I've done this for 20 years. Yeah, I've done this for 15 years. Wow, how can we collaborate? They just want to be in the same space with like-minded professionals to explore. So they want to network. They want to make new connections. They just want to make new connections and expand their networks because that's also how they grow. The next reason here is personal growth. I know that during my introduction, it was mentioned that, yes, I volunteer for a few organizations here and there, but I think for me personally, personal growth would be one of my top reasons for volunteering because it's the best ladder that you can climb and just build your confidence, find things that resonate with you, find courses that resonate with you. It could be in youth mentoring, it could be in just visiting of the sick, it could be in raising funds for a particular reason. So, for example, if within your community, within the church community, there are people who they say, oh, these people need this and this. And it's your job or it's your team's job to raise the funds that they need. Oh, somebody needs to pay their child's school fees. Somebody needs to be able to carry out this activity. And it rests on your team. Then that person is forced to learn how to fundraise, how to speak to stakeholders, how to engage directly, how to walk up to someone and say, oh, dear so and so, my team is trying to raise funds for this particular cause. Would appreciate if you're able to contribute. We'll be sending you a letter. And you go at the end of the day, after that conversation, you go back, you craft your letter, you send to the person. The person sees it and say, this is not a roadside, this is not just some charlatan asking us for money. This is not just someone trying to raise funds for no particular cause. You put everything there, the reason why you need it, the amount you need, the account number it goes to, and accountability also, so that the person can see that when they send this money, this is how it's going to be tracked. You're going to get feedback as to how that money was spent and what happened. You put that together, you send the letter out. The person sends whatever amounts that they contribute or they donate. You use it for your cause, and after it, you then learn this habit of sending a report of how you have spent the financials, how the event went, just a summary or a brief of what has happened. And then you notice that over time, because this person has served on that team, they've done it flawlessly, they've done it back to back, they can do it in their sleep. If they are in any situation when they need to raise funds for any reason, they know exactly what to do. If they send out a letter, it will definitely not sound like somebody's trying to scam them because the reasons are there. They put everything that the person needs to verify that information because they have done it before. So personal growth is important because you volunteer and you just notice that you're upskilling yourself. You're learning new things. You're learning how to do new things. You're forcing yourself to grow. So personal growth is really important in terms of just contributing your time to meaningful courses, and it helps the person to upskill. The next one I have here is career advancement. For those who work in HR or those who are quite familiar with recruiting people, getting people on board, getting people to see the roles that they are putting out there, career advancement is really great. And for people who are also applying for roles, if, for example, someone had stayed in a particular role for 5 years, for 10 years, and they wanted to transition into another industry, a recruiting manager, a hiring manager might say, oh, your CV does not have this and that. Oh, we are looking out for someone who has 5 years of experience in project management. We're looking at someone who has been in the FCMG industry. We're looking at somebody who has been in manufacturing. We're looking at somebody who has been in the banking sector. And the person just looks around and says, wow, so I don't have this thing that these people need. If they are very particular about their career advancement, it's also a way to gain those real life experiences, gain those transferable skills that they can put on their CV to say, yes, I have worked in this industry for 10 years, but in that 10 years, I have volunteered for so, and so causes or so and so organizations. Within my church group, I work in the media team or I work in the project management team. We have planned so and so events. We have delivered, you just put deliverables. And you notice that over time, anybody who looks at the CV of someone who actively volunteers for either one or 50 causes, and they understand that, yes, the work is free, the work might not be paid for, but it also has value. And that value is then what they can put on record, document within their CV or their resume in terms of capturing their real world experiences. And people can look at that and then judge what they are bringing to the table in terms of the job or the portfolio or the project that they are aspiring towards. And then lastly, I have here giving back to society. For some people, the only reason why they volunteer is, see, I've done my own part, I've done what needs to be done, and I think that I can share my time with others. They are not expecting anything. They are happy. They are happy to give their time. They are happy to give their money, contributions, donations, items. They are happy to give away anything just to make sure that other people are okay, for the sake of the fact that it makes them happy, it keeps them fulfilled, and they feel that, okay, the society has done this for me and I should do this. Or somebody down the line has done this for me and I just want to pay it forward and I just want to do this for somebody else. When I was young, I noticed that, oh, there was this particular person that kept on mentoring me, kept on checking up on me. And then with that, over time, the person says, you know what, I want to do that for someone else. I also want to go back and see who can I help with my skills? Who can I help to make something better, right? Who can I give some advice to that will change their lives? Just that alone. So people who are motivated by, they just want to give back to society, that's just their reasons. And so I'm putting this out here because, yes, the reason for this particular engagement is skills development in particular, but I wanted us to see other reasons why people would give their time for free. And we'll take this question now. We'll also come back to it much later. But if you wanted to learn, if there's a skill, what skill do you want to learn the most if time and money was not an issue? I'd like everyone on the call to just put it in there, type it in. If time and money was not an issue, what skill would you like to learn the most that you don't currently have, that is not in your portfolio, or you'd like to improve upon? Okay, so please, let's just take out a few minutes, go to the chat box and type this in. What skill would you want to learn the most if time and money was not an issue? I'll give us a few seconds to get to that. Please just find your chats, find your chat box and type it in. I want to see what skill we would love to learn if time and money was not an issue. Please, let's do that quickly. I cannot see any comments yet. Okay, financial investments. Thank you, Uloma. Financial investments. Okay, let's keep it coming. I want to see more. If time and money was not an issue, what skill would you love to learn the most? I want to see more comments. I want to see more comments. It's only Uloma that wants to learn financial investment though. And I know that by the time we are done, oh, I see Uzoma has gotten Uzoma is in here. Forex trading. Felix says coding applied in blockchain. Solomon, digital skills. Ubani Godson, data analysis. So let's just keep it coming. Let's just keep it coming. We will come back to this question before we leave the room. I want to see more responses. Digital marketing skills. Fantastic. I want to see more of that. Let's just keep typing in the chat box. I want to see more responses. I think we have about 7, 8 responses in the chat box, and I can see 20 people in the room. I'd love to learn 2 new languages, improve my engineering design skills. Adayan, Daniel, please put the 2 languages you'd like to learn. Is it Korean? Is it Chinese? Is it German? Is it French? Put it in there. There's a reason why I'm asking for the particular skill that you'd love to learn. If time and money was not an issue, just put it in there. And because of our time, I'll still go on. If it comes to you, please just put it in a chat box and I'll address it later. So next, French and Spanish, fantastic. So our next slide here is talking about the common misconceptions about volunteering. Now, this is what makes most of us not volunteer or not explore the option of volunteering, particularly to gain new skills. The first one is in our heads, only students need to volunteer. Only students need to explore that option, either students or retirees. So you have to be a retiree that has all the time in the world, or you have to be a student that does not have any skill at all to volunteer. But that's a fat lie. Why? Because many professionals gain those leadership experience, expand their networks, and develop new skills through volunteering. So it's not just limited to students or young professionals or people who have retired. Everybody that is actively working, actively giving their time, whether it's paid or not paid, also have areas where they do these things and they don't get paid. So it's a misconception if you keep thinking that, oh, for me to volunteer, there must be something I'm looking for. For me to volunteer, I should have 0 experience. For me to volunteer, no. You can gain leadership experiences, you can expand your network, you can learn new skills just because you are giving your time. And yes, they say time is money, but I have this thing I tell people. This could even be in a paid job. If you're in a paid job and the complaint is, oh, they're not even paying me enough, why am I doing this? I always tell people, you are either earning or you are learning. What that means is that if you feel that the value you are getting for the value in terms of what payment you are getting is not commensurate to the work you are doing, you should also look at it from the point of view that there is a skill that you are gaining by being there. There is something that you are learning by being there. So that just by being there for the next 3 months or 6 months or 1 year, you can actively say, in the last 6 months, in the last 1 year, this is what I have learned. Yes, the value that job has given me or whatever I have gotten from it is not commensurate to what I've learned. But that thing I have learned can be converted to money or converted to value because it has increased my capacity. So students only, retirees only, that's not factual. That's not factual. Then we move on to, we move on to the other one, which is no career benefits. Some people believe that volunteering has nothing, they don't gain anything from volunteering. They don't gain anything from giving their time. They believe it has no career benefits. And that's also not true because, of course, volunteering can enhance your resume, improve your soft skills, and even lead to job opportunities. just by giving your time within a community. It could be community service. It could be, oh, after service, they said, oh, there's somebody that
Okay, I guess we're having connectivity issues, or is it just from my end? Even just give Pamela a moment to connect back. Thank you.
all right, apologies, I'm back in. There's a changeover. So let me share my screen and then, okay. Yes, please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes.
All right, apologies. There's a changeover, so I have to switch. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. So back to it. Let's see. Okay, better. Okay. So back to it. Most people, so this is a myth, right? This is not correct, where you say that there are no career benefits associated with volunteering. There are so many things that you can gain. You can meet people who do the same thing. They could recommend you for so many other things. And so it's a good place to meet people that have similar goals as you. The next one is that people believe that you need a lot of free time to volunteer. And this is actually not true. A lot of people who volunteer already have their hands full. You don't have to be someone who doesn't have anything they're doing with their time, or, that shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be the case, right? Where you believe that, oh, I must have time. I have no, that should not be the case. A lot of people who volunteer are just able to manage their time, priority. So a lot of people who are able to do that are just able to manage their time, are more able to pay attention to the things that matter in terms of prioritizing needs, juggling the things that they need. They have work, they have other activities that they do outside of work, and then they still have time to volunteer. So the question is, you don't actually need a lot of free time to do this. You can either find a way to incorporate what you do in your activities. So I'll give you an example. When I was introduced, it was mentioned that I am a vice president of Chartered Institute of Personal Management of Nigeria. That's CIPM Nigeria, and I also am a Toastmaster, and I've served in apologies, I'm getting some interference. Okay, so um, that's that point where people so sorry, I was talking about me being a CIPM member and me being a Toastmaster and me also volunteering for different causes, right? It stems from the fact that yes, I'm very busy. Yes, my hands are full, but I always try to find time to incorporate what I do and the causes that I volunteer for. A good example would be for Toastmasters. It's an international community that focuses on leadership and public speaking. It's not paid in terms of if you sign up and you are a member, what you do is that if you sign up as a new member, there are people who would mentor you, there are people who would coach you, and then you learn public speaking, you learn leadership skills by serving, and then you learn by doing, you learn by speaking. And then once you're inside the system, it then means that you have to look back and also mentor other people. So you're able to teach them, you're able to coach them, you're able to point them in the right direction. And so just doing that for yourself and doing that for other people means that you now start imbibing those skills of always be able to give people feedback appropriately. So something has happened, somebody has spoken, you don't just say, what rubbish, what did this person just say? In fact, there's nothing good to take out of it. You find a way to encourage them, give them empowering feedback, give them feedback in such a way that they would say, wow, thank you for listening very attentively to what I said, and I'll take the recommendations that you have given. You clap for them where you feel that they did well. Then you also come back and say, you know what? How about next time you do this? How about next time you do this differently? And just by being in that environment where you get constant feedback, you're in a supportive environment, you are able to just be that person that is able to assist other people when they are down. For CIPM, it's HR, of course, but it's not a paid job. You have to serve in the office, you have to serve in different roles, you have to organize, you have to organize stakeholders. There are so many things that need to happen. But just by doing all those little things, there are skills that you would learn. You learn leadership skills, you learn to organize people, you learn to coordinate activities. And just by giving your time, it's not that you do not have, it doesn't mean that you have time that doesn't, there's nothing to do with your time. It just means that you're able to say, okay, by doing this, I can gain this. And I find a way to incorporate it in my day, incorporate it in my week, incorporate it in my month, and I'm able to give more. Another misconception also that is here is that people feel that for you to be volunteering, it has to be a non-profit. It has to be an NGO. That is not the case. A lot of organizations, corporations, professional associations, government initiatives, they rely on volunteers for various projects, even religious ones. We are right here in SDAC's Porters Outreach, and there's a lot of activities that go on end to end. You don't see anybody who is actively being paid to provide this service. You don't see anybody who is actively being paid to lead, to organize, to coordinate, to bring people together, to call stakeholders. Nobody's being paid to do it. But guess what? The fact that there is a need and people can stand up and arise and give their time also means that it doesn't have to be a non-profit. It does not have to be an NGO. A lot of people can benefit from signing up to give their time, to give their energy, to give their experience, just to make something better for a group of people or for a particular person. And so on that note, we'll be talking about what are critical skills. So this is just some. What are some critical skills that are gained by volunteering? The first one is leadership. If you are used to working by yourself and there is no, you have little or no interaction with other people, working with people who are just difficult to manage. And yes, please confirm that you can hear me. I seem to have been thrown out once again.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, please. I think my screen is no longer displayed. Let's pull it up one more time. All right, so let's get this on. Please, my timer should please inform me when when I need to wrap up so that we try to keep this as discussed. Okay, so back to leadership skills. The person would gain leadership skills by coordinating other people. And their only opportunity to do this might be within that team, within that volunteering committee or that community, as the case may be. Communication. If someone is volunteering, then they must be working with other people. They need to put out press notices. They need to put out a social media post. They need to address. They need to give an announcement in church. They need to, do you understand? There are so many things that one can gain by volunteering. They need to interact with the local community. They need to give an address. Oh, somebody is not going to be available. You need to go and speak on behalf of our community, on behalf of our team, and the list is endless. So it means that that person will be forced to learn communication, learn how to put out formal letters, dot their T's, cross their I's, engage with the public. And so that is how they would learn communication or public speaking, as the case may be. It also makes people to network and collaborate, because if you are in a position where that organization is expanding, that organization needs to get things done, somebody needs to liaise with stakeholders, somebody needs to reach out to people, somebody needs to be able to make cold calls. You don't have to know anybody. You just have to say, oh, call this number and tell them so person, give that contact and have a conversation. So recently, someone reached out to me and said, oh, hey, Pamela, I've been asking of you. And I said, what happened? They said, oh, I need the Pamela Magic. And I said, which one's Pamela Magic again? Please explain. And the person said, oh, whenever I need something in terms of a particular person or a particular group of people, I know that if I call you, I will get that contact. But the reality is, in particular, I don't have those contacts. I only rely on my networks to make it happen. So if somebody says, I need a contact in Ministry of Transport, I don't have to know anybody in Ministry of Transport. I just need to know one person that knows somebody in the Ministry of Transport. That is all. And I reach out, I get that contact, and then I share. And so just for the fact that I interact with different people means that I can easily reach out to anyone to say, oh, I'm trying to do this, and this. Kindly share a contact with me. And the moment they share it, I introduce myself properly. And I say, I got your contact from so and so person. And the moment I say that, it's just an open door and they get whatever attention, whatever needs to be attended to gets attended to. Why? Because over time, interacting by volunteering, by work, or whatever reason, I am able to build my networks to the point where I trust the judgment of other people in my networks. All I need to say is, I need somebody to do this, and this for me. And somebody will come through and say, oh, I know who that person is. So you don't have to keep relying on your own networks to make this happen. Just by volunteering, just by giving your time, it helps you expand your network to the point where you can then also help other people to do the same. Event planning, organizational skills. This one is a no-brainer. It is something that always happens. whether it's in a corporate, whether it's in a corporate sphere, whether it's a religious organization, whether it's a private institution, event planning, there's always something that is going on. There's always an event that needs to happen. Somebody needs to put it together. This is an event. Somebody put an agenda together. Somebody called the people who are going to speak. Somebody knew what the flow was going to be. Somebody chose the topic. Somebody had to organize this. And so if you keep on saying, I don't want to volunteer, I don't have the time, I'm a very busy person, you will only be left with the things that you know. You will only be left with the things that you actively taught yourself or actively paid for to gain those skills. You will not learn all these skills that are just passing by. You will not learn patience. You will not learn patience. You may not learn how to just hold it together, because some people are particularly difficult. And if you volunteer quite often, you would notice that people are naturally like that. A lot of people don't want to be led. The fact that you have said, okay, let's go this way, they want to go left. And so it just helps you to learn how to be patient with people, how to be emotionally intelligent, how to be more empathetic to people, how to ensure that you're able to get the best out of them, because you have given your time, you've given your skills to projects where you have gained those experiences that on a normal day you might not have gotten. Next is social impact and ethical awareness. So for me, I volunteer for Breast Cancer Association of Nigeria. I volunteer for, there's a particular NGO that is into raising awareness for people who are addicted to different, all types of drugs, just trying to raise awareness, trying to rehabilitate and all that. By volunteering, you'd start seeing more layers of the society. You start seeing that, oh, when someone is critically ill, it may not even be the amount of money you want to raise to pay hospital bills. It may now be that that woman is no longer actively in the home, or that man is no longer actively working. It means that his family needs to be taken care of. It means that somebody needs to take his children to school. It means that the wife needs to have a business that she's doing. It means that somebody has to check in on them at least every week. Oh, somebody has lost a spouse. You can't leave them by themselves. Somebody has to actively check on them. And then you now start saying that it's not just, the world is not what it is. There are so many layers that you have to keep peeling back. And so you start gaining more awareness into ethical issues, social issues, that something is right does not mean that it is ethical. That we can do it and look the other way does not mean that you have done everything that needs to be done. And so you now start being aware that, oh, it just goes beyond what we see. It goes beyond the legal. There are other layers. There are social issues. Yes, I'm paying the minimum wage, but are you paying a living wage? That amount you're paying that person, can they use it to take care of their families? That's a social issue. Oh, there is somebody who is helping me to do so and so. I give them this. The question is, yes, you've done that, but is there more that you can do? It now helps you to see what are the ethical issues, what are the social issues. Oh, there's somebody that was arrested for drug use and you lock the person up. Is there a social issue there? Is there an ethical issue there? Are you supposed to find ways to rehabilitate that person, bring them back into society rather than just keep them in one corner and don't offer them any help? So it just helps you to peel those layers back and be able to do more. And adaptability and resilience. For people who come from civil society background, you know that for you to get stuff done, you need funding. You need to get stuff done. Okay. So for you to get stuff done, you need to have funding. You need to have backup to make it happen. You need to have people. But if you are very used to volunteering, they just tell you, go and do it. They did not give you money. They did not, you will think out of the box. You will find creative ways to make it happen. You will say, oh, you know what? There's somebody I know I can call. The person will run this thing for us. The person will not charge us. You see, you've thought out of the box, something that could have cost that organization money or cost some finances, you're able to cut it back because you are thinking actively and you're able to make things happen. You're able to make people to donate, to make stuff happen. And you're not waiting around for some approval to come from somewhere because you have that volunteer background, you have that civil society background. So these are just a few critical skills that I want us to look at. And then I think I've mentioned a few of these also in terms of what new skills can you gain by volunteering. Are you volunteering with the media team? You learn a lot of marketing. You learn a lot of how to use social media. And then when you do that, you can then say, I now want to do this for myself. I have done this. I have learned this. I can now use this as a side hustle. Resource pooling. I'm able to say, oh, I don't have to wait until I can afford this. If everybody puts their eggs put whatever they have in the basket, we can make this happen. And just by having 5 people commit to a cause, you are going. You can donate, you can make it happen. I have this particular project where I raise a pad bank for young girls, and I do that donation in secondary schools. Initially, I would just do that myself, but later I said, I may not have the money to do this, but the information I want to give them is way more important than what I want to share. And so actively, I would go back, I would raise the funds. Wherever I stop in terms of whatever funds I have raised, that is enough. We go to those schools, we talk to those girls, they learn things that money cannot buy, and we have done what we need to do. So you have project management, you have facilitation, you have public speaking, fundraising, budgeting, the whole 9 yards. There are so many new skills that you can gain. And okay, so I think my title is wrong here. But what I have here is that what do you need to do? Like once you already know the skills that you want to learn, how do you then go on to make it happen? The first one is seek those volunteer opportunities that align with your career goals. That way, you are not doing things that are not in your field. That is how you manage your time. That is how you prioritize. That's how you also ensure that you are learning and you are growing. So you are doing that volunteer work. They are not paying you for it, but you're also gaining something. So make sure that you're seeking opportunities that are within your career path, your career goal, your life goal, your personal values. That is what you should do. The next is that you should reflect on those skills. How does it contribute to my skills development? What practical skill can I gain? Oh, I want to learn a new language. There is this particular organization that are in Nigeria. They are a Spanish organization, but they are here in Nigeria. Okay, I think that if I work with them, they'll be able to give me some pamphlets or so that have both Spanish and English translations. And just by interacting with them and working with them, I'll be able to learn basic Spanish. You see, you didn't have to go and pay an organization to learn it. Just by interacting with this NGO or with this nonprofit, you are able to learn a thing or two. And then lastly, get involved. How do you get involved? Just jump into it. Just jump. That's just the simple thing. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Ask yourself, number one, do I have the time to give to these people? Do I have the skills to give to these people? And lastly, what can I also learn from doing that? If you're able to do that, you will notice that there's a world of difference in just jumping into a volunteer role and not reviewing what you need to do. I have this very interesting slide here, and it says how not to break your heart by volunteering, right? In volunteer work. How not to break your heart. A lot of people go into volunteering and in their head, they have this expectation that something must happen. I'll give a very practical example. I'll try to wrap up quickly so that we can take our questions. But I have a very practical example. I used to volunteer for a particular government official. It wasn't an appointment or anything like that. I just happened to be interested in the work that they were doing. And so I would actively ask, oh, can I help you with this? Can I help you with that? And they would let me in and they would let me assist. So was it creating policy, or was there a program that was coming up? We needed to draft that. I was doing all that actively with my full chest. I was not expecting anything. But people would say, Pamela, this thing you are doing, no, are they even paying you for it? Something, something, something. Do you know that I did this and this for this person, and they did not do so, 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 and so for me? And we were both doing the same thing, but our mindsets were different. I was doing this because I actively wanted to be at that position where I could learn, where I could gain these skills, and where I knew that the things I was learning were valuable. But for someone else, they had a monetary expectation to the role. And when it didn't come, what happened? Heartbreak. And so to avoid this type of heartbreak, you need to set your expectations, understand what is going on, understand what you need to do, understand what it's going to cost you, because sometimes it costs you money. Understand what it will cost you, and that is how you are able to break free from having expectations that are not met. Choose the right course. I've said this earlier. Align with something that is within your line. That way, it doesn't seem like you are doing a 180-degree because you want to volunteer. No, do something within your space, within your line, so that you are able to just seamlessly do it. Balance commitment with capacity. This is also another thing that people do. They give so much of their time to an event or a project or a setup that is not, that they don't get, in brackets, please, in bracket, that they don't get paid for. And so if you are not saying, this is my life goal, this is my life's goal, this is what I want to do, if you're not actively in that mind space, you will continue to be disappointed because you have overcommitted, you have overgiven, and you are expecting something in return. So you need to know how to balance your commitment with the capacity that you have, so that you're not overgiving, you're not overfeeding, and you're not feeling like you're giving too much and you are left empty or left dry. Next is recognize your impact. So no matter how big or how small, know what your impact is, so that you are not discouraged if you feel that, oh, I'm not getting too much out of this relationship. And then lastly, be open to learning. You can only do this by learning, and you can only know that, oh, anything that I don't get right is an opportunity for me to do it better next time. And so, just to wrap up, these are my last few slides. Just to wrap up, this is just a symphony, right? This is an orchestra, and each instrument, like each volunteer, has its strengths, but together they create a masterpiece. It means that everybody has something they are bringing to the table, and it is now left for you to say, oh, what is that small thing that I will bring to this table that will make a difference? In the words of Mother Teresa, I can do things you cannot, you can do things I cannot, but together we can do great things. In your final steps, in terms of aligning, once again, seek opportunities that align with your goals, reflect on how these experiences can contribute to your development, and then take action towards that skill that you want to learn. In the words of Audrey Hepburn, as you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself and the other for helping others. So do well to help both yourself and others by committing to a cause, to volunteer, to give yourself, and also to gain practical life skills that will be beneficial to you and your community. Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure being here. Back to you, Mr. Ebenezer.
Thank you so much for the enlightening presentation. So I'm actually going to pass the torch to Toyosi, as she is going to be the one responsible for the Q&A session. So Toyosi, please go ahead.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Please confirm that I can be heard.
Yes, you can.
All right. Thank you so much, Sister Pamela, for that wonderful and inspiring session. Thank you for opening our eyes to all the benefits of volunteering. So at this point, I don't know if anyone has questions or comments. Please raise your hand so that we can call you for your question. And if you're in a place where you can't talk at the moment, you can just type your question or your comment in the chat box. Thank you. I was saying we don't have questions.
Okay, while we wait for people who have questions or comments, please recall that I had said we should type the skill that we wanted to learn if time or money was not the issue. I don't have that chat anymore, but I know that it's still in the chat box. So if you are on this call and you can assist anyone, so I know that people posted data analytics, people posted data analytics, people posted, someone posted French and Spanish, someone posted financial literacy, right? If there is
Yes,
anybody,
forex trading.
yes. So if there is anybody on this call that feels that, oh, there is something I can teach this person, whoever has posted that, and I know the person, I can reach out and say, oh, I can assist you with learning this. Even within this community, we can say, oh, based on what people have posted, oh, how about we have a French 101 session where we just teach people how to introduce themselves in French. Or how about we organize a financial literacy session where people can learn this and that. Oh, graphic design. How about we do a session about Canva and teach people how to just use basics in whether it's Adobe, whether it's Canva, whether it's just an AI app that they can use to generate whatever graphics they want to, as basic as that. And you will notice that just because you said it out, people will be willing to teach you. And anybody who is also willing to teach you does what? They also perfect their own skills. By teaching, by impacting, they are also able to improve on themselves. So, Toyosi, I see that there's a question here that says, are there forums where interested persons can seek volunteering activities? Yes. This is everywhere, depending on what your skill sets are and at what level that you are willing to volunteer. So at the international level, you have these platforms that says maybe UN volunteers. You just go up to their website, depending on what your age is, you can sign up based on what you are interested in. At the local level, there are so many organizations that are non-profits. There are so many even active, not these are non-profits this time around. There are other people that have projects that are going on. You are in your community, you see a poster, you see a flyer. I'll give an example. I think within Akure here, there was a very big event, global entrepreneurship event. Yes. And they signed up volunteers, but people will just be like, oh, if they're not paying me, I'm not coming. And I have a friend of mine signed up as a volunteer. She's a very big event manager and event she's a very decorator, designer, and all that. She signed up as a volunteer. And by the time she was done with her work, she was volunteering. They said, no, there is no way you are doing this for free. There is no way you are doing this for free. End to end, logistics, things they needed to get. She was doing it. She was actively, and they said, no, there is no way you would be doing this and we will not pay you for it. So just by putting herself out there, by giving her time, giving her resources, she was able to now get the event planners to say, you know what, next year, volunteer or no volunteer, this person is going to be actively paid to get this, to make this happen. So there are so many forums, yes, where people can seek volunteering activities. You have to agree or decide on what sector you are looking at and then go online. Just type it in. It will show you sites within your local community. If it's in Nigeria, if it's in Africa, if it's at the global stage, there are so many options in terms of how you can volunteer. It doesn't have to be in person. It could be virtual. There are so many flexible options of volunteering now. You don't have to be, it does not have to be boots on ground. And there are so many options in terms of how far or how big that you can volunteer. So I think I'm just answering the question that I saw in the chat box, and also Letitia's comment about graphic design, in addition to what people had posted earlier that they were interested in learning. So my point is that the moment you put it out there, that this is a skill I want to learn, regardless of time or money, you will definitely see people who will come through for you and say, oh, how about I give you, I'll teach you the basic skills that you need to learn to be able to make that happen. And just by actively learning the basic skills, you can use that to then position yourself within a volunteering organization or a team where you can now learn by doing, make mistakes, make those mistakes, learn by doing, and then you will notice that flawlessly, you can execute those skills at any point in time because you have put in the hours, and the hours you put in were all through volunteer. Nobody paid you for it. You just actively put in that time. You learned it, you honed your skill, you became better. And just by doing that, you then became a shiny, or you just became an expert just by giving your time. So back to the definition of volunteering, where we say it has nothing to do with money, or there's no remuneration, or you're not getting paid. The value that comes from that means that you are fortifying those skills, you are gaining new skills, and depending on what environment you are, you can then monetize those skills that you have gained by volunteering. I hope that answers the comment and also the question. Thank you, and back to you, Toyosi.
Does anybody have any question? Any other question or any other comment? Okay. In the absence of any other question and comment, once again, Sister Pamela, we would like to appreciate you as a church. We thank you for taking this session with us, and we also look forward to having another wonderful session with you anytime we call upon you. So at this point, I have a few announcements to make. Our prayer meeting will be holding tomorrow from 7 o'clock to 8:30 p.m. on this platform. Let us come with our burdens. Let us come with our expectations, with all of our requests. The God of Potters is set to answer all of our requests. Let us also invite our friends to the prayer meeting. And also on Friday, we have our Bible study as usual, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. At this point, I would implore the media team to please play the theme song. And after this, Sister Pamela will give us the benediction. Thank you.
I'm pressing on the upward way, new heights I'm gaining every day, still praying as I onward bound. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand, by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher place than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. My heart has no desire to stay where doubts arise and fears dismay. Though some may dwell where these abound, my prayer, my aim is higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand, by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher place than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. I want to scale
Sister Pamela, please, the benediction.
All right, I want to thank everyone for taking our time to join this session. I know that definitely it wouldn't have been easy, but I would like to say that based on what we discussed today in terms of volunteering, if we continue to give our time selflessly, it is always rewarding. It's rewarding personally, it's always fulfilling. And what's that saying that when you farm, you're right, when you farm, when you are a worker in God's farm, God will also help you in your own farm. So let's continue to give our time. Let us continue to show kindness and let us continue to uplift others. And one way or another, that blessing always will come back to us. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you. And back to you, to your seat. Kindly confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Pray, Toyosi.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Before we go, let's just have a quick word of prayer. So, our Father, we thank you for gathering us and for the wonderful lessons we've learned about volunteering, even at in your house, our places of work, our environment, our community as a whole. So we hope to volunteer for the betterment of everywhere and our environment around us. We pray that you also help us to be better people and that your name shall be glorified. Be with us through the rest of this day and take all of the glory forever. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen.
All right. Once again, Pamela, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And yeah, we'll be in touch.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of
All
the
right.
evening. Bye.
You too. Good night, everyone. Bye.